welcome back to the garage and part 2 of the campaign Penance. After part 1 of Penance, the sisters push further into the planet, further on from the wastelands towards some more built up areas as they continue to pursue the Genestealer cult. As they make their way through the plains, they then come across this broken down manufactorum area with one of the drills and an area that is evidently starting to get into more populated or built up area, and the sisters have then taken stock and look to secure this area and move further on to eradicate the Genestealer cult. We rolled for the mission at the end of the first part, and we ended up with spawning ground out of the Tyrannic War book. So we have an objective here, an objective here, an objective here. We'll talk about the mission more shortly, but first let's go on to the armies and see exactly what the Genestealer cult have bought and what's happened with the sisters. So here we have just a shade under 850 points worth of Genestealer cult. They're led again by the Primus today, who has the enhancement A Chink in their armour. So when they're set up, the unit he leads is set up on the battlefield, they will have lethal hits. So what's changed in this army so far? We have now 2 squads of Atalan Jackals. We remain with the 2 squads of Neophytes. We now have 3 squads of Acolyte Hybrids, 2 with Flamers and 1 with the auto pistols and mining tools over here. We've lost one of the Goliath trucks, but we've kept the rock grinder, and we've added in a squad of Aberrants. So this isn't necessarily the same force that the sisters met first. This is one to another section, another location on the planet, and this is the forces that are in that area. So that's the Genestealer cult. Pretty simple, pretty quick. They've got some tricks about them. They can come on and off of the field. We have sort of reinforcement points, so to speak, resurgence points I think they're called. So if I lose a unit, so if I lose this unit at 1,000 points, I think I get 6 resurgence points. So each unit has a number of points that you can use to bring them back. Just because a unit's destroyed doesn't mean I have to bring back that unit. If that's worth 2 points, that's worth 2 points, and that's worth 2 points. I could bring back this unit 3 times, for example. It's just I can use points to bring units back. Dependent on what it is, I can use them to come back in deep strike, which is sometimes more useful than putting the tokens down and working from there. A lot of the force does have deep strike as an option. The Jackals don't, but I think that's pretty much, and obviously the truck doesn't, but I think that's pretty much it. So that's the Genestealer cult. So let's have a look at the sisters. So one more thing before we move to the sisters. The detachment rule they're using today for the Genestealer cult is a perfect ambush. So when they are set up on the field from as reinforcements, then they get sustained hits 1 and they ignore cover. So it can be pretty spicy if we get that bit right. So anyway, let's go on to the sisters. So here we have, again, just under 850 points of the Sisters of the Order of the Burning Shield, otherwise known as the Black Watch. And again, they're being led today by Canoness Aurelian Voss. And we've got some new additions to the army, namely a Dogmata and an additional Rhino. They've been drafted in from the order of battle as the points increase as they go across the campaign. So everything else is pretty much the same. We've got we had this squad here of Retributors that failed their out of action test, as did the Sister Repentia. Everything else in the battle remains the same. Everyone gained some XP. The Sister, the Canoness Aurelian Voss gained some Saint Potentia points. What I'm going to do as an agenda, I'm going to take the agenda Atonement in Battle. So anyone that's got the battle weary, which I think these ones were, and whatever the Repentia failed with, essentially if they kill units in this battle scars can be removed, an extra XP gained. So that's the agenda we're taking today, to try and atone these two squads in battle. I haven't spent any requisition points yet. I'm still figuring that bit out. But that is that's the Sisters army. We have the Retributors, all with melters, and we have the Immolator that is also melter. So in my head, that's how they go together. We have an additional Rhino for ferrying a squad of Sisters around. We have Aurelian Voss and the Dogmata. We have another squad of Sisters, this one with Flamer and Artificer Stormbolter. We've got a squad of Sacrosancts with Halberds and the Spear of the Faithful. We then have another Rhino with some Sister Repentia and a Repentia Superior with her Neul Whip. So that, in my head, this is, they're coming in off of the last battle. They've got some reinforcements in terms of vehicles to carry them across the plains as they come across this next Genestealer cult fortification. So that being said, we'll have a look at the mission and deployment. So spawning grounds is set up with, here's the attacker, so we'll be at this end coming across here, and the defenders there with the objectives being slightly closer to them. So one's actually within their compound, with that one on the missile silo and one underneath the drill over there. And those objectives essentially are areas where the Genestealer cult will erupt from, if you like. So they'll have a gestation tally of 0, and they start under the defender's control and remain so until they're controlled by the attacker. The start of each player's turn, for each objective under the defender's control, add 1 to that objective marker's tally. And then if it's under the attacker's control, you minus 1 until it reaches 0 again. If any one of those markers reaches 6 for the defenders, the battle ends. That's it. So basically, if then that happens, the defender scores 90 points and the attacker scores 0, and vice versa, should that be the case if none of the objectives reach 6. So that's the mission. The Genestealer cult will be that far end. The Sisters will be coming in from the plains from this end. So we'll go on to deployment and first turn. So at the end of deployment, the Genestealer cult have set up with the auto pistol squad of acolytes towards this far corner here with the jackals in support. There's a squad of neophytes in the centre ready to start holding that central objective, and then down the right hand flank is another squad of jackals and the Goliath rock grinder with the aberrants in there. In deep strike reserve we have 2 squads of acolytes and we have another squad of neophytes with the Primus. For the sisters, the 1 squad of sisters with the dogmatas got into the rhino here, and then the squad of Repentia and the Sacrosancts and Aurelian Voss has got into the other rhino. The Retributors have gone into the Immolator, and the squad of sisters are supporting them on that left hand flank. Now the attacker has first turn in this game, so all that's left to do is roll the miracle dice to see what they get for round 1. That's a 4. And with that, on to sisters, turn 1. At the end of the sisters movement phase, pretty much everything advanced barring the Immolator to try and get towards the objectives and start hopefully turning off the tally that is starting on each one. We rolled relatively low here for a 2 on this one, but the 2 rhinos came speeding through the wastelands with a 5 and 6 respectively, so getting them further along. But as I say, the only thing that didn't advance was the Immolator, so we're going to take a pot shot at these neophytes. So 3 shots from Heavy Bolter to hit, 3 to wound, so 2 wounds go through. Would be minus 1, but no minus because of some cover in the way, and that's 2 neophytes down. Whilst we're here, we'll do the Hunter Killer from the Immolator into the Rock Grinder. I will spend the 1 CP we have. It hits, it wounds, and that is a save. That's the shooting, there's no charges, and so that concludes turn 1 for the sisters. So how will the Genestealers, the Genestealer cult, respond as we go on to Genestealer cult turn 1? At the end of the Genestealer cult movement phase, we've increased the tally on each objective to 2. This one's on the floor, but I'm just up here so I can see it better, and this one over here. So they're bubbling away, increasing away. The sisters will, although these first turns are kind of just staging turns, it won't be long before it will become a very pressing matter indeed. So the jackals, this first squad of jackals, just came around the corner, again looking to stage onto this objective or counter the sisters should they again move across. The aberrants got out of the rock grinder, which then just moved around. The neophytes advanced for a whopping 1, but got them onto the objective, and the acolytes and the jackals just moved up, secure the knowledge that if the sisters need to get onto this objective here to turn it off, there's a nice counter charge should they survive anything that comes at them. There's nothing much to shoot again in this turn because things are out of range, but we do have some shots from the Goliath, from the rock grinder with its heavy mining laser and heavy stubber into the Immolator. So start with some tracer fire from the heavy stubber, which all miss. Fantastic. Number of shots from the heavy mining laser for 2, hitting on 4s. 1 hit, wounding on 3s. That's very cocked. Still cocked. Wounds. -3. There's a bit of cover between us and them. It goes through, and that is D6 + 1 damage. For 2. So at the end of Genestealer Cult turn 1, again, nothing much doing at the moment. Again, it's just staging turns. So can the sisters start to make a difference and start to reduce these tallies that are increasing on these objectives? Let's find out as we go on to sisters turn 2. At the end of the sisters movement phase, the squad with the Dogmata disembarked from the Rhino and moved on to the objective. The Rhino then brought itself round to sit and try and hold that as well. The Repentia disembarked from the other Rhino and moved up towards this Atalan Jackal squad, whilst the Rhino itself with Avalon Voss in it just moved forward to give itself options in later turns, either to move on to this objective and try and cull the horde here, or support over here against the aberrants. The Retributors disembarked and moved forward to take aim and try and redeem themselves, atone themselves in battle by bringing down this rock grinder. And around here, this squad of sisters just moved to get line of sight of the jackals and try and do anything to whittle their number down. Rolled a 4 for the miracle dice at the start of this battle round, so giving us 2 4s to work with, so we'll see if they get used. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but the detachment rule for the sisters means that each unit can use 2 miracle dice rather than just the 1. The Army of Faith, I think, is that one. So we'll see if that comes up. But in the meantime, I'm going to spend a CP, the 1 CP we've got, on Divine Guidance, giving an extra pip of AP to this squad of sisters as they fire everything they can into this squad of jackals. So hitting on 3s. That isn't bad, actually. We've included the Artificer Stormbolter in here as well. It's going to be forced to wound. So 4 6-up saves. And no, they don't go through. So that kills either the quad bike or 2 of the jackals. As a result of destroying the model, I get a miracle dice and I get a 3. Excellent. What sisters could see, the Atalan jackals firing the heavy bolter, doing no damage, actually missing twice. Then the Rhino fired into the acolytes, again doing nothing, and this Rhino fired into the jackals and managed to pip off a wound. So with that, we'll go on to the Immolator firing everything into the rock grinder. So starting with the tracer fire with the heavy bolter into the rock grinder, hitting on 3s, and we get 1 sustained. Strength 5, toughness 10, so 6s, and we get our wound goes through, -1, but there is a bit of cover, and we're good. Now multi-melters hitting on 3s. Wounding on 5s. Excellent. So, although nothing really doing from the Immolator, it has stripped cover from the rock grinder. So now all the multi-melters are going to go into the rock grinder. Let's see what we can do. So 5s to wound. 2 wounds come through at -4. Now with no cover, they don't get a save. We have 10 wounds to get through. Let's see what we can do. Let's just roll it. We'll leave the miracle dice around. Let's just roll it. and on a 2, that's not very good. So with the shooting phase over, we go to the charge phases. There's charge phase. There's only one, which will be the Repentia into the jackals. They can't really fail, but we're going to roll for movement. And they go 3, really. So after we've piled in, the sisters Repentia take aim with their eviscerators, which they can re-roll all hits and wound because they're being led by a superior. So 1 sustained so far. Okay, not great. 3 to wound. Rerolling. Okay, so 5 wounds go through. So 5 wounds go through. The way I'll allocate that is I'll put those 2 onto the quad bike, killing then 3 more of the jackals. 4 attacks from the Sister Superior comes in, and they all hit. It's anti-infantry, but they're not infantry, they're mounted, so there you go. So it's 5s to wound, and nothing comes through. So that marks the end of the Sisters' turn, which we've managed to turn off that objective for now, but we haven't managed to turn off this one and this one, and we're already now, after 2 turns, going to be up to 4 on the tally. Only go to 6, and it's going to be game over. So what will the Genestealers do? They've got some units in deep strike ready to come in to add to the Sisters' woes. So let's look at Genestealer Cult, turn 2. At the end of the Genestealer Cult movement phase, we've increased the tallies again up to 4 on this objective, and this objective, it's 2 that need to go to 6 or above for the game to end. And yeah, let's see let's see what happens. The Atalan jackals have moved around here. They're still outside of 6, so the demolition run won't kick in just yet, but they're supported by the aberrants who have come through this mining rig, and they're looking at a 9-inch charge into this squad of battle sisters. Around this side, the Atalan jackal did fail its leadership, so it's battle shot, but did survive its desperate escape test, allowing it to fall back, and then this squad of neophytes just coming round to take aim on these Repentia and see if they can get rid of them and prevent them from atoning in battle. The squad of acolytes moved towards this squad of sisters, but in the backfield, exactly where the sisters have come from, true to form, the Genestealer Cult spring forth from wherever they were lurking, with a squad of acolyte hybrids here, another squad of acolyte hybrids here, and this side the Primus and his squad of neophytes were ready to take aim at this squad of battle sisters. So really not wanting to lose those battle sisters, the Repentia retributors even, to a charge from the rock grinder, we are going to do everything we can, and we're going to overwatch that rock grinder and see if we get lucky, see if the light of the Emperor shines upon those retributors. So multi-melters, 6s to hit. Get 1, it's not going to be enough. It doesn't even wound. So we fired the auto pistols from the acolyte hybrids into the sisters, and nothing doing. So with that, we'll move on to this neophyte squad, putting everything it can into the squad of Repentia. So we'll start with the seismic cannon. It's hidden on fires, but it's rapid fire too, and it is blast. So actually 5 shots. So hitting on 5s. One comes through and doesn't wound. The heavy mining laser misses. Shots with the frag launcher for 3, so 4 with blast, hitting on 4s, 3 hits, and wounding on 3s, just the 1 wound. They have a 6-up invulnerable save, and then they have a feel no pain. So we lose our Pentia. So then the Weber fires in for D6 shots. That is super cocked for 1 shot, which doesn't wound. Our way back into the back lines here, the Acolyte hybrids with hand flamers put everything into that squad of sisters for that many auto hits. 4s to wound, 6 3-up saves, and we lose a couple of sisters on the way. Coming around the other side of the battle grid, the Atalan Jackals let loose their small arms fire into the squad of sisters, hitting on 4s. Wounding on 4s. So 3 3-up saves, and we lose 2 sisters. So the Primus adds 1 to the hit roll for the unit that is leading. So I've got all the hybrid firearms that are in range, and some are rapid fire, some are not, and they're hitting on 3s with 6s being lethal. Wounding on 4s. That's 6 3-up saves to make for the sisters, and they lose 2 more. The heavy stubber now hitting on 3s, with wounding on 3s. So 3 more wounds come through, 3 more 3-up saves, and we lose another sister. So the seismic cannon comes in hitting on 4s because of the ability by the Primus. Only 1 hit. Wounds on a 2. Definitely wounds. -1. And with a 6, the sister is okay. Now the Primus fires with his pistol, hitting on a 2. Hits anti-infantry 2-up. And that's cocked. And wounds just, and there's no AP. Sisters are fine. Shots from the flamer for 2. 1 wound, and we lose another sister. Okay. The last thing left to fire is going to be the rock grinder, as it puts its heavy stubber into the sisters and the heavy mining laser into the immolator. So we'll start with the heavy stubber. Hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s. That's 3 3-up saves for the retributors. Oh, we lose 2. Now D3 shots for the heavy mining laser for 2 shots, hitting on 4s, 1 hit, wounding on 3s. It wounds. And we have a save from the immolator. So there's going to be charges across the whole grid. Some of them are longer than others. But everything is going to try and charge and see if we can bring down these sisters and put an end to this attack by the Imperium and see if we can secure the compound. So we'll start off with the neophytes. They're pretty much in on a 7. It's a 5 needed for the acolytes, and they get exactly a 5. These 2 are long bomb charges at 10 each. So they get in with a 10. This is not looking good for these sisters here, but we fail on that one. On this side we have another long charge from the Primus, and he just fails. No, let's not worry about that too much. Battleland Jackals, they're in with an 11, and then the Aberrant with a long bomb charge with a 7. Let's do ACP, and they still fail with a 6. And the last bit will be the Rock Grinder going into the Retributors, and with a 6, it's going to go ploughing through them and hopefully make short work of them. So we moved everybody in, and we'll start with the Acolyte hybrids here, and we'll start with the 2 heavy mining laser tools into the Sisters. 3's to wound. So 3 wounds come through. It's going to be -2. So we just lose our sister. That's good. The remaining claws and knives hitting on 3s. Wounding on 3s. And these are all 4-up saves. And we just lose 2 more. Staying over here, we'll move over to the other squad where the leader's bioweapon will strike out, hitting on 3s. Wounding on 3s. So 2 wounds come through at -2 again. And we lose another sister. The remaining knives and claws hitting on 3s. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wounding on 3s. 4 more wounds come through at -1. And we lose 2 more sisters. Okay. So, probably went better for the sisters actually there than I thought it might. I thought that squad might actually just be gone. So it's going to be, let's see what we can do on the fight back. But in the meantime, that will happen. We're going to go over here and see if these neophytes can bring down the Repentia. 8 attacks coming in, hitting on 4s. Strength 4, toughness 3, 3's to wound. So 2 wounds come through. So 6 of invulnerable save, and then a 5-up feel no pain. And we lose a Repentia. So working our way around to the Battleland Jackals, and they're going to strike out, hitting on 4s. Strength 3 versus toughness 3, so 4's to wound. So 3 wounds come through, no AP. And the sisters weather the storm. So spending a remaining CP on Blinding Radiance, so we can dazzle the driver of this Rock Grinder and making that Retributor squad -1 to hit. The Drill Dozer blade strikes out, hitting on 4s now. And it's made a bit of difference, a little bit. Strength 10, so definitely 2's to wound. So 5 wounds come through. I need to make some of them, or all of them, really, if I could really help it. That one is cocked. I lose 2. I leave 1 Retributor alive. So they've weathered some of the storm from the attacks. Now we're going to strike back, and we'll start back over here with the sisters putting everything into this squad of acolytes. So 4 attacks come through from the Dogmata, hitting on 3s. Of course she rolls 2 1s. Killing on 3s. She's cocked. So she kills 2 on her own. So 4 attacks coming out with the sisters hitting on 4s. And no wounds. So the Sister Superior strikes out with their Neural Whip, hitting on 3s. And she hits 3 times. Anti-infantry 2 up. So anti-infantry 4 up. Excellent work. 2 repented themselves, strike out, go into reroll, and they get 1 sustained. Excellent. 2s to wound, re-rolling, and that they kill 5 on their own. So fighting back over here, the Sister Superior of the Chainsaw gets 3 attacks, hitting on 4s. And she hits once. She wounds. And doesn't save. So 1 damage goes through on 1 of the jackals. The remaining sisters fight, hitting on 4s, wounding on 5s, and nothing coming through. And that, after doing a very short attack with the Retributor into the dozer blade of the rock grinder, nothing doing, and that would mark the end of the turn for the Genestealer cult, and they have pushed back. 2 of these objectives are going to move on to 5 in the next turn, so the sisters really have got some work cut out to then try and stop these tallies coming through. They really need to gain control of these 2 specifically and prevent them from actually being held. So let's see what they do on the sisters, turn 3. Okay, so after the sisters movement phase, they stayed in combat over here. We've managed to reduce the tally by 1 because we've got the rhino and 2 sisters within 3 inches of that objective, but the other 2 have gone up by 1 to 5. The Canoness Aurelian Voss has disembarked from the rhino with her squad, and we passed the desperate escape test out the back of to back out from the dozer blade, to try and have that Retributor live to fight another day and try and atone herself in battle. Maybe, let's see. The 200 killers haven't fired off the rhino from recollection, so they're going to go into the rock grinder, as is everything from the immolator, because we need to make room and move through, and this really probably will be the last ditch attempt to stop these objectives increasing in their tally. The Repentia have stayed in combat. We need to try and deal with these neophytes and move on to this objective, and then from here we need to successfully charge, clear these aberrants and move on to that objective, or use a good piling to get onto the objective and stop that from increasing, and then try and hold. There's a lot that's got to come off, so let's see if the sisters with the Light of the Emperor can do it. Start off with this rhino firing its Stormbolter into this Atalan Jackal, and hits only once because they have stealth. Wounds though, no it doesn't. It doesn't wound at all. Excellent work. Right, Hunter Killer into the rock grinder. It hits. Okay. Right, rinse and repeat with this rhino. Let's see if we can get rid of this jackal. Come on. Come on now. And we hit twice. We wound once. And he fails. So he's down to 1 wound remaining. Excellent work. So 5 pistols come in from the Battle Sisters into the Acolytes, hitting on 3s. Ooh. Strength 4, toughness 4, I think. Just 1 wound. And we kill an Acolyte. Excellent. Sister Superior has a bolt pistol hitting on 3s. When she misses, so it doesn't matter. After the rhinos have failed to do anything to this rock grinder, which is really becoming irritating, we're going to chuck some grenades at it from the sisters, from the sacrosancts, hitting anything that is a 4 is mortal wound. Yeah, so we do 3 then. So we're going to split fire from the immolator. We're going to put the multi-melters into the rock grinder and the heavy bolter into the aberrants. So 3 shots from the heavy blotter, and we hit 3 times. 5's to wound though, strength 5, toughness 6, and we get 2 wounds through. -1 becomes minus nothing, so 5 ups, which they fail both. So 5 up, feel no pain on the first one, takes 2 wounds, and the second, and then he just died. So we kill 1 aberrant. The Battle Sister squad over here fired their pistols in, chipping that last wound off the Outland Jackal, but with that we need to fire the Immolator. So the multi-melters fire in at the Rock Grinder, hitting on 3s. Why do you do this to me? Wounding on 5s. I'm going to use a miracle dice. I rolled a 6 on a miracle dice. Now the other one, it's a good job. Right, -4 at this range, nothing doing. D6 plus 2. He's got 7 wounds to get to. Okay, so he's got 2 wounds remaining. Okay, so we are going to do some charges. I'm going to try and charge the Immolator and the Rhino into the Rock Grinder, and I'm going to charge the Sacrosanct and Aurelian Voss into the Aberrant. So we'll start, let's just move these. They don't really exist. So let's start with the Immolator. And that's in, and the Rhino, that's in. Okay, so now we need Voss to make it into combat with these Aberrants. Come on now. On a 4, I have to spend a CP. On an 11, we're in. So Aurelian Voss raises the Blessed Blade, strikes out, hitting on 2s. So it's a lethal hit and 2 hits. Strength 6, toughness 6, so 4's to wound. So it goes straight through, it's -2, and first 5 up, feel no pain, and the second 5 up, feel no pain. So she takes 2 wounds off of one of the Aberrants. So 3 attacks come in from the Spear of the Faithful on the Sister Superior, hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s. Nothing comes through. Okay. All the Anointed Halberds go in, hitting on 3s, with 6s being sustained. That's a bit better. Now as a kicker, it's going to be 5s to wound, strength 5, toughness 6. 1, 2, that is it. Two wounds. This is not going to plan, is it? They go straight through as -2, but 1 damage each, and we kill our Aberrant and put 1 down to 2 wounds. Okay, so we're going to do both of these vehicles at the same time, because I don't think there's much to do, but you never know. There's only 2 wounds to get through. They hit on 4s, and I can see what's going to happen now. No wounds. Okay, fantastic. That was a waste of video footage. So I'll probably cut this, maybe. Do you think? Yeah? Okay. We fought back off camera with the neophytes, nothing doing. So we're going to go over and we're going to strike out with the 2 heavy mining lasers, heavy mining tools into the sisters, hitting on 4s, wowzers. 3 hits come through, and 2 wounds come through. Can we get 2 5s again? We get 1, we just kill 1 more sister. Back with the Dogmata, hitting on that. Wounding on 3s. So 3 wounds come through, 3 -2, so that kills both of those remaining acolytes. The 2 Repentious strike back at the neophytes, hitting on 4s. We're going to re-roll, and there's 2 sustained. Right, okay, now you're powering up. Wound, killing on 2s basically. And that eradicates neophytes. 3 attacks, so 6 attacks coming out from the Outland Jackals, hitting on 4, so that's pretty good. That is pretty good. So 4 wounds come through. And we lose 2 more sisters. 4 strikes back, hits twice. Hits once even. Wounds. And a wound goes on to one of the jackals. 1 remaining sister strikes back, hits, and wounds. The jackal is fine. So, everything is fought, firing. Nothing happened over here as is expected. The only thing left is the fight back for the aberrants. So let's see if they can take down any of these sacrosancts and reclaim this objective. 9 attacks coming out of the aberrants, hitting on 3s. Ow. Strength 7, toughness 3. So 2s to wound, but -1 because the sacrosancts are being led. So 3s to wound. So 4 wounds come through onto the sisters' sacrosancts. 4 up in vulnerable save. Ah. Finally, the light of the Emperor shines on the Order of the Burning Shield. So marking the end of Sisters turn 3, we've managed to clear the neophytes and get the sisters onto this objective. So that will reduce that tally by 1 in the next turn, as will this one. And we've managed to out OC the aberrants on this one over here as well after the piling and consolidation. So mission accomplished so far, but there's a big but. We've got a whole squad of neophytes over here, led by the Primus. Assets for the sisters are now extremely thin on the ground, and I'm not certain they're going to survive another round when we've got acolytes coming here, acolytes coming there, another squad of acolytes coming back. Let's see what they can do. Let's see what the Genestealer cult can do and how it's going to affect the sisters. So at the end of the Genestealer cult movement phase, we've brought this squad of acolytes up. We've moved this other squad of acolytes around to hopefully get a charge into this rhino. We've brought the Atlan Jackal up around this side. We've stayed in combat with the Sacrosancts, but the Jackals have fell back to put some OC onto this objective, whilst the Primus and his squad have moved up. We're probably not going to fire at these sisters because I want to charge them, try and get up the board, and then potentially move on to this objective in later turns. And out of Deep Strike, another squad of acolytes has got an eye for the Repentia and take back that objective. The Rock Grinder has stayed in combat. There's little point to it falling back. It can act as a roadblock to those 2 vehicles there. So with that, we'll move on to the shooting phase. It's going to be a little pitter-patter of it really, not masses, and then get into the close combat. So we'll start here with the 5d6 flamers into this sister squad. That's quite a lot of flamers. So 22 falls to wound. Strength 3, toughness 3. I'll do these one at a time because I might use a miracle dice. So I can use 2 per. I can use 2 per unit because of the army rule. So the first one, she's alive. She's alive. She's alive. She's alive. She's alive. She's alive. Sorry for making you watch that, but reasons. But they survive the flamers. That's surprising. Firing the Etolan Jackal into the same squad again reaped no reward, and we moved over to the Rock Grinder and fired the heavy stubber into the immolator, but nothing doing. So we're going to fire the heavy mining laser and see if we can chip some more wounds off. So D3 shots with a mining laser for just the one, hitting now on 5s. Hits. Wounds on the 3. Definitely wounds. -3, so 6 up, save. What do you know? With that, we've got some charges to declare. I'm going to charge these acolytes into the sisters, try and clear them off the objective. And with a 4, they're in. I'm going to charge this squad of acolytes into the rhino, and I don't think we'll clear it, but we'll certainly help tie it up. On a 7, they're in. Needing a 6-inch charge to get into the sisters, the Primus gets there easily with a 9. Needing a 9-inch charge to reach the Repentia, they fail. So we're going to use a CP, and they still fail. So the leader strikes out with his bow. We also, by the way, got the Atalan Jackal in. Didn't make sense for him to sit here in the wind. So the leader's bioweapon hits on 3s. Wounds on 3s. So 4 5-up saves. Okay, we lose a sister, lose a sister, lose a sister, and 2 wounds go on to the Dogmata. Once all the claws and knives have come in from the remaining acolytes, the Dogmata has 4 saves to make at -1. And she falls. The claws and knives came in and nothing doing against a tank as you'd expect, but then the heavy mining tools come in. They hit twice. Anti-4 up, they wound once. And we failed the save, so it puts 2 damage onto the rhino. The Primus raises his bone sword, strikes out at the 2 remaining sisters of the battle of the squad, hitting on 2s. Ooh, okay. Wounding on 3s. Just 1 wound comes through so far, -2. And that kills one of the sisters. He gets extra attacks with his toxin injector claw, hitting on 2s, and it's anti-infantry 2 up, and wounds both times. It's no AP, but does D3 damage. So will this take down the remaining sister? No, it does not. The attacks came in from the remaining neophytes, causing 2 wounds, so 2 3-up saves. Do you know what? Using the 2 miracle dice, I keep the Sister Superior alive. So, going on to defenders now, the Canoness raises the Blessed Blade and strikes at the Aberrants. Still misses twice. Crucially fails to wound. So the Spear of the Faithful for the Sister Superior strikes out, hitting on 3s. And hits twice. Wounds on 5s. And wounds. First feeling of pain is passed, and the second feeling of pain is passed, so making no wounds on the Aberrant. So, the Anointed Halberds strike out, hitting on 3s, 6s being sustained. Strength 5, toughness 6, so 5s to wound. Just the 3 wounds come through, and we fail the feel no pain, we fail the feel no pain, and we pass it, so we drop one of the Aberrants down to 1 wound remaining. We strike back with the Aberrants hitting on 3s. Wounding on 2s, but it's wounding back on 3s because of the -1 to wound. Do the first 5. and we lose 4 of the sacrosands. This one, we roll a 5, so we lose 3 sacrosands in return. Oh dear. So 3 attacks come in from the battle sister, the sister superior, and she misses all 3 times. So the last thing to fight back from the Genestealer cult is the rock grinder, and that's going to hit its dozer blade, its drill dozer blade, into the immolator, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s. So just 1 wound comes through, and the immolator's fine. Doing the attacks back from both the vehicles, we hit 4 times. Come on, the dream is alive. 5s to wound. The dream is dead. So at the end of the Genestealer cult turn, we're going to take back control of this objective and start the tally counting back up. Not sure it's going to reach 6 by the time the end of the battle, but these units can now move off whilst this tally starts to creep up and creep up and creep up. It's essentially become a sticky objective. Over this side, we look like we've secured this objective, certainly from an objective control point of view, and really hamstrung Aurelian Voss and her sacrosands. So we need to see what the sisters can do there, whilst this brave sister remains in combat with the Primus and the neophytes. Let's see how the sisters respond, what they can do, what can they do to prevent these tallies reaching their goal. So after the sisters movement phase, we've brought the rhino out of combat. I'm going to try and maybe get it through onto the objective in later turns if we can. This rhino pulled back, allowing a shot from the Romanian Retributor into the rock grinder, which hopefully, if that comes off, will free up the immolator to fire into the aberrants and the Atalan jackals respectively, because Aurelian Voss has ordered the fallback, abandon this objective, concentrate on these 2 that we have lower tallies on, and see if we can secure them and secure the battle grid. The Repentia have moved off the objective temporarily, see if they can take care of this acolyte squad. So with that, we'll go on to the shooting phase, and we'll start with the Retributor. The rule allows you to use 2 acts of faith per unit, per phase. So I'm going to start with the hit roll from the Retributor into the rock grinder, and I'm going to also then use the 6 for the damage for the wound roll. At this range, that means there's melted 2, there are only 2 wounds left on that rock grinder, and so with the acts of faith I can secure that rock grinder from going pop. Does the rock grinder blow up? No, it doesn't. It just melts and frees up the immolator. So 3 shots come in from the immolator into the Atalan jackals from the heavy bolter, and we hit twice, and we wound twice. -1, but a bit of cover, so no minus. And one of the jackals survives, but this other one does not. 4 shots come in from the multi-melters into the aberrants, hitting on 3s. Wounding on 3s, that will go straight through. So what's the damage? For 3. So 3 fabric feel no pains, and that kills that aberrant. That was not how it was supposed to go. If we can get that immolator into combat, it's a full-on 12-inch charge into that, including the pivot. Not even close. So then we'll move around to the Repentia charging into this squad of acolytes. On the 7, they're in. So we'll start with the Repentia, hitting on 4s but re-rolling. 6s being sustained. So only 2 hits come through. 3s to wound, but again re-rolling. And that kills 2 outright. 4 attacks come in from the Sister Superior, hitting on 3s. Come on now. Anti-infantry 4 up, so no wounds. Okay. Whilst we're here, we'll attack back with the heavy mining tools. I'm going to spend the CP. So they go through, so 2 attack, 2 damage each. So that's 2 invulnerable saves failed, so it kills 1 Repentia, kills another Repentia. So now the claws and knives, all 3 hit. 1 wound, and she fails it, so she dies. Primus raises his bone sword one more time and strikes out at the remaining Sister Superior, hitting all of the times. And wounding 4 times. Oh, it's a valiant effort, but she falls. So at the end of the Sister's turn, we've lost control of this objective. Actually moving off of this objective here, whilst we've brought the tally down, it's now no longer under our control, so it will start to go back up again. Presumably, I'm reading the mission as it flips to the defender's control. So, because I no longer control it, but maybe I'm wrong, who knows. And so with that, with Genestealer Cult turn 4, let's see what they can do to see if we can get these tallies where they need to be. So as we get into the twilight of this game, turn 4 for the Genestealer Cult, this objective has reached 6. This objective is currently on 4. We have some work to do. The Atalant Jackals have come round and they've already both done their demolition runs, but to no avail. So put 1 wound onto the Rhino. We brought these 2 squads of Acolytes round to try and tie the Rhino up and make sure it doesn't go any further. And we brought the Aberrants out to play again with Aurelian Boss's squad of Sacrosancts, and the Promise has moved up to maintain control of this objective. So with that, there's actually not much, in fact no real shooting, so we'll go on to charges, and we'll charge the Aberrants into the Sacrosanct squad for a 10. They are definitely very angry. We'll charge the 2 squads of Acolytes in, and they're in, and they're in on a 7 and a 6 respectively. So we fought over here with the Acolytes and we managed to chip a couple of wounds off of the Rhino, but other than that, nothing more doing. So we'll move over to the the Aberrants as they strike out and they hit the Sacrosancts of Aurelian Boss. That one's cocked. 3s to wound with a -1 to wound. So 4 wounds come through. Okay, so the first Sacrosanct, she's fine. 1's dead. Next one's dead. So it just leaves Voss. And she makes her 4-up invulnerable save. Okay, we need all of these to come off now. We need all of them to come off. So, hitting on 2s, 6s are lethal. So we get 1 lethal. We're wounding on 4s. So I'm going to use a miracle dice. I have a 3 and a 4 in my miracle dice pool. So I'm going to add that one in. Okay. And then roll. And we wound again. So 3 wounds come through. So I think it's going to kill them. But the first one fails. And then fails again. And the last one passes. So at the end of the Genestealer Cult turn, we've flipped that objective. That is hit its tally. We've locked up Voss in combat. Tried a bit of a roadblock with the Ashland Jackals, but certainly with the Acolytes into this Rhino. So as we go to Sister's turn 5, this tally is pretty key. So what can we do to flip it? So at the end of the Sister's movement phase, the Rhino had nowhere to go, so it couldn't move. But the Sister, the Retributor, got into the Rhino on this one and moved up to hold this objective. We've got these 2 vehicles just on the edge there to try and prevent that tally from going any higher in the next turn. So with that, we're going to fire all the multi-melters into the face of those jackals and the heavy bolters. We'll start with the heavy bolters. And we hit twice. We wound once. And we kill one of the jackals. And then the 4 multi-melters, why not? We only hit once. We definitely wound. And yeah, he's a goner. So that kills the jackal squad. The remaining Retributor uses the firing deck ability to shoot at that Ashland Jackal behind her. She hits once, wounds, there'll be no save. So the damage though, and for a 6, gets that jackal as well. So the only thing that really remains is for this aberrant to see if it can take down Aurelian Boss before she climbs into the Rhino and escapes from this battle grid that has gone pretty wrong today. So he hits twice. He wounds twice. These 2 4-up invulnerable saves. I could at this point, I have 2 4s, a 3 and a 2, and I could use miracle dice to keep Aurelian Boss alive, but I'll let the dice tell the story. She survives, and she survives. The Emperor protects. Strikes back, hitting on 2s, and still misses twice. He's right in front of you. Wounds once, and he takes our wound with his 5-up feel no pains. So with that, Aurelian Voss climbs into the Rhino and makes the order, gives the order for the evacuation. And so because this objective reached 6, the defenders won. The Genestealer Cult secured the area, and whatever horrors spilled forth from these birthing vats, from the underground horrors that only the Genestealer Cult and their patriarch in waiting can understand. Aurelian Voss will have to regroup, gather her forces, and go on the offensive again. So we'll see what happens in Penance Part 3. So we have a number of out of action tests to take. So let's take them for this Battle Sister squad. They passed. And Repentia passed, and they, because they killed a squad, they're going to remove, they atoned in battle. Dogmata just passed. This Battle Sister squad didn't pass, so they'll get a battle scar. The Sacrosancts, they've passed with a 4. The Retributors survived because one of them got back into the Rhino. Aurelian Voss survived, and the Immolator survived again. We'll total everything up. So rolling for the Sister Squad on the battle scars, they roll a 1, so crippling damage. They can't advance and must subtract 1 from the move characteristics of the unit. I did roll last time, I'll roll again this time. So 1, 2, 3, it's going to be missions A. 4, 5, 6 is going to be missions B. So number 4. Okay, so we're going to then look at 1 to 6. It's a 6, so we're going to be playing Routed Prey. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed part 2. There's more to come. So see how the sisters regather themselves, reorganise their forces, and try and strike out and take down the Genestealer cult. Though with Routed Prey, are they the ones becoming the hunted? Let's find out in Penance, part 3.